Being a minimalist is a mindset I love. My wife, on the other hand, she likes the concept, but she really doesn't get much out of removing items she doesn't use or need. She doesn't get fazed by items just laying around. She loves when things are simple, but wouldn't really bother her if one item isn't back in its particular spot, like it would with me. Now, as you already may know, you've seen some of my other videos, I have a little baby under 1. Now, this was a complete game changer when it comes to minimalism. It challenged me into trying to think to keep the necessities in and telling my wife what we don't actually need. Although I rarely won that discussion. But one thing that did happen is when Amber was pregnant, she was always eating for 2. So you could imagine we slowly gained more and more excess items in the pantry. During this time, the kitchen and pantry had become cluttered of too many items. This is where minimalism came into play just recently. I've decided to fully clear out the pantry and get rid of all the crap that we didn't need. Booby Bickies. Nourishing Breastfeeding Mums, vanilla flavor. That's in the bin. So probably one of the major tips I want you to take away from this video is that I want you to try and achieve, rather than changing your habits and going to the pantry, well, because I do it all the time. If I have snacks in the pantry, I will tend to eat them. What you want to try and do is change your environment. So try not to introduce the bad foods into your diet and obviously your pantry, because if you don't have the bad foods there, then you're less inclined to eat them, well, because they're not there. And if they're there, like me, you would have more of a chance to give in to cravings and eat them. Simple. So what you might find is that you may actually have to go to the supermarket and buy some containers. Now, this is the easiest way to make sure, 1, you keep your food fresh, 2, you can buy food by the bulk and pour them into one container, and 3, obviously save space. Now, just be sure to buy quality containers though, because you want to keep the food nice and sealed, quite tight, but you can actually keep them a little bit more fresh and obviously last a lot longer. Now, I like these containers as they snap on quite nicely and just lock really tight. They've got a nice rubber gasket on the inside, which you can see there. So when it does get snapped on, it seals it airtight and just makes it so much better for that quality and longevity of your food. Now, this tip will also save you money, because when you're buying bulk, which is generally cheaper, the food can be kept obviously a little bit more fresh. It may cost you a little bit to buy these quality containers at first, but they are a long-term investment as they pretty much last forever. So that brings me to my next topic, is that we are currently back on track at a relatively strict macro counting regime. Now, if you don't know what macros are, to put it simply, they're comprised of proteins, carbs, and fats, obviously the macronutrients. Essentially, this is the body's fuel sources. We both track our macros using the MyFitnessPal app. Now, this app allows us to input our food and just calculates what proteins, carbs, and fats you have throughout the day, and obviously micronutrients as well. This is a much better technique than actually just guessing. Essentially, it just removes a lot of that guesswork and just provides much more clarity into what you're eating and how much you eat on a daily basis to hit your daily macronutrient values. Now, this will also keep you accountable for eating the wrong things and potentially overeating the wrong foods. Now, I won't dive into this too deep, but this is something is really worth looking into. If there is one nutritional advice I want to give someone, that is keep track of your diet, even for a small period at a time. If it's a week's worth, that's perfectly fine. At least you'll be able to see your habits and see what standard foods you have and what they are made of. Portion control plays a huge part in today's society. We generally fill up the plate and eat until we're full. I mean, I'm a culprit of this plenty of times. So what has any of this got to do with minimalism? Well, eating as much as our bodies need eliminates waste and obviously excess foods. Foods that we don't actually need and also just want. This will create less items in storage, which means obviously less clutter, and spending less on crap, which leaves more money in our pockets. The most important thing about health and fitness is always the nutrition. Consuming too many calories simply is the key that makes us overweight. The basics of calories in versus calories out. This pretty much applies to anyone. There are always exceptions to the rule though, as there is a very small percentage of people who have certain medical conditions, but for the general population, we generally just eat too much food. I assure you, I can easily get fat. There's no problems there. I am just super aware of my consumption and the types of foods that I have, and that's why I really don't pack on too much fat. And I exercise a lot. So the main things I want you to consider is just getting rid of some unnecessary condiments. Things like honey, peanut butter, and spreads can be great to have with meals, but just be careful as they can be calorie-dense foods. So remember to check your pantry and do a full clean out. Get rid of all the junk food first. Give all the chocolates and goodies away. If not, just toss them. Removing them out of your life will hopefully prevent you from getting more and eating too many calories. Now, the other tip is to start tracking your calories. Like I said, track for a couple of days. At least get a grasp on how much you are currently eating, and are you eating the right amount of foods? Because you may not be eating enough protein, or you're eating too much fats, not enough carbohydrates. A lot of people are scared of carbohydrates, which carbohydrates are not the enemy here. But it just gives you a little bit more detail into what you actually have in your daily intake. And self-education obviously is very important because you just need to be in control of your own life and how you actually want to live your life. So the next time you go shopping, be sure to shop smarter. Save your hard-earned money on other things and not just pointless things that taste good and have no nutritional benefit. Make 2020 a new year and make some changes in your life because your health is probably one of the most important things in your life. So anyway, guys, that is it from me. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, hit that thumbs up. That would be absolutely amazing. Subscribe to my YouTube channel if you already haven't. Also hit that bell notification so you can be notified when my next videos come out. Comment below if you have any questions for me as well. I'll try and answer them as best as I can. My name's Jason Morris, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Let's get it.